So this is round 2 of Players Cup. Um, this is my first time recording myself playing games. I just bought the recording device just for Players Cup because I wanted to be able to record myself and get these matches. Because like I said in the last video, this is my first time qualifying for Players Cup. Um, so I wanted to, have records of it so I could come back and watch it again and, post it on YouTube and, make these voiceovers and whatnot. Um, but it was my first time recording myself playing, so there's a couple times I forgot to start recording, and this was one of the matches. Um, we played the first game, and I completely forgot to start recording, so I missed the first game. So in that first game, I won, so I was up 1-0. So this is the rest of the set, so I'm up 1-0. I just have to win one more game. My opponent, Bradley here, he needs to win this one to send it to a game 3 because again, it's best out of 3. So first one to win 2 games advances, or I shouldn't say advances. This was a Swiss style tournament, um, which means that there's just 9 rounds, and whoever has the best records at the end advances. And I'll talk more about that in the next few videos. But basically, you're mathematically eliminated from advancing after you have 3 losses. So there's 9 rounds. You can't lose more than twice. You got to go 7-2 to have a chance to make it. So obviously, every match is critical. You can only lose twice to still advance because there's 256 players. The top 16 advance to the next round. So yeah, you obviously have to play well, and you can only lose twice. So let's get this one started. Alright, so my opponent leads with a Gothtel and Celesteela, and I go with a Regirock and Dusclops. So what I'm just realizing as I'm doing this is we didn't get to see team preview either. So let's skip ahead and find team preview. Because, like I said, I forgot to record this. He ended up beating me, so spoiler alert for the first match. But here's his team. So he has a Kingdra Politoed, and he has a Gothitelle, Celesteela, Rillaboom, and an Alolan Marowak. So he's got a rain team, I have a sun team. That obviously makes things tough. When you're fighting over the weather. And the Gothitelle also makes things tough because if he leads the Gothitelle, then I can't switch my Pokemon in and out because I forget what the ability is called, but when Gothitelle is in play, the opponent cannot switch their Pokemon in and out. So once he leads Gothitelle, I'm stuck with what I have out there. So that makes it difficult. Especially, he's got the Celesteela. If I lead, for example, Torkoal Venusaur, it's not a great matchup for me against the Celesteela. Venusaur isn't going to do very much damage, and he's going to go before Torkoal. So he could do Max Rockfall on Torkoal and knock out the Torkoal. He could do Max Airstream because he does have Air Slash to take out my Venusaur. Right, so it's really tough for me to lead Torkoal Venusaur. He also could switch into a Politoed and change the weather on me. Right, so it just isn't a great lead for me. I don't love it, so that's why I ended up, let's go back to this game 2 here. That's why I lead with my Dusclops and my Regirock. So what I'm thinking here is, hopefully I'll put some pressure on him to, Gothitelle has, so his Gothitelle set, let me pause this for 1 second. It's got Trick Room, Psychic, Hypnosis, and Fake Out. So he can't Fake Out Dusclops, so that's a good reason to bring in the Dusclops. Neither of these Pokemon apply a ton of pressure on the Dusclops. So it kind of makes him make a decision here. Is he going to try to do Hypnosis on Dusclops and put it to sleep? Is he going to try to double up on the Dusclops and get damage on it? So I felt like this was a strong lead to, make him have to try to make some tough decisions. Now, I've been talking a lot and wasn't paying attention to what attacks I chose. So I chose to go with Trick Room. And I believe I Dynamax and go Rockfall and Celesteela. And that's what I do. Now, I don't know if I love that play, but I guess what I'm thinking here is if he Steel Spikes me and sets off my weakness policy, then maybe I'm doing a decent amount of damage into him. So we'll skip over these Dynamaxes here. He Dynamaxes Celesteela. I Dynamax Regirock. So he goes Max Steel Spike, and it's into the Dusclops, which is a really smart play. He boosts his defense, and he doesn't set off my weakness policy. So now my moves aren't going to do very much into him at all. And he also goes in for Hypnosis into the Dusclops. So a really good play by my opponent here. He puts Dusclops to sleep. He boosts his defense. My Max Rockfall isn't going to do very much at all. And honestly, what I should have done here, yeah, you see that does nothing into Celesteela. I should have targeted the Gothitelle, because I want that thing out of here so that it can't be putting my Pokemon to sleep. Then I'll be able to switch my Pokemon in and out. Like, I really want to get Gothitelle off the field. So by targeting the Celesteela here, it's just not smart. Now he can keep going for Steel Spikes into Dusclops. And he can just click Hypnosis on Regirock, and I think that's what he does. And let's see here. Yep. So now we're both asleep, and I mean, this is just a horrible start for me, right? Like, I just did not play this well. I do get lucky, and Dusclops wakes up and gets off Trick Room, so that's good. But still, not smart how I started this game. So now I do have Pain Split, so I can Pain Split the Gothitelle. And Max Rockfall would be great here, but I'm asleep, right? So I need to hope that I wake up again and take out the Gothitelle. And I don't think that happens. And even if I do, it's at +2 defense. I don't even know if I'm going to take that thing out at this point. Now both of his Pokemon are at +3 defense. So Regirock really isn't going to be doing much damage. And he can just reverse my Trick Room here. And as you can see, that's what he does. So yeah, I mean, I'm just in a terrible spot here. I feel like I found a way to make this game competitive, but yeah, I really started this poorly. My Dusclops is in range here to be knocked out. Yeah, so he can just target the Dusclops with his Celesteela and take me out. My Regirock is still asleep, and even if it wakes up, they're both +3 defense. So my Rock Slide isn't going to do much damage even if I do wake up. So like I said, I'm just really in a terrible position. I can't switch out because of the Gothitelle. I should have been targeting that on the first turn. Yeah, just really poor start for me. So he goes Helping Hand. I don't think that was necessary. And I also don't know why he risks an Air Slash there. He should have just gone Flash Cannon, in my opinion. But it does work out for him. And, the scary thing is he's getting special attack boosts every time he gets a knockout. Now I get lucky here and get a crit on the Celesteela, so I do a lot more damage to it than I would have done with it being +3 defense. So I get lucky there. Now I have to go into Venusaur here, because if I go into Torkoal, he's just going to knock it out or put it to sleep, or, I have to go into Venusaur, and I have to put Celesteela to sleep. Like, I really have no other choice here. That's the only thing that gives me any kind of chance. So I have to go Sleep Powder. I need it to hit, and I might as well Rock Slide and hope that I get a critical hit. So that's what I do. I just gotta hope for crits through their defense boosts, and I need the Celesteela to be put asleep. Now if I'm my opponent, I'm probably just doubling up on the Venusaur with Air Slash and Psychic. So Sleep Powder does land, which is huge. And he goes for Hypnosis, and it misses. So not a good play by him. I'm pretty sure he had Psychic, so Psychic's super effective into Venusaur. I feel like he should have just gone for that. But now this is still really tough, right? Because with the two Pokemon I have out here, I can't do very much damage into the Celesteela. Like, I really need to get a critical hit here. So you can see I'm thinking about doing Curse to boost my defense and my attack. But Rock Slide is my smartest choice here, and I just have to hope for another crit. I really need to get rid of the Gothitelle so that it can't Trick Room or put me to sleep or any of that other stuff, so that I can switch out. But yeah, like, this is still really tough for me because I can't knock out Celesteela with Venusaur, and it's at +3 defense. So Rock Slide just isn't doing enough damage because he's +3 defense, even though it's a single target Rock Slide. And here comes his Politoed. So what do I do here? I feel like my best move would be to Leaf Storm the Politoed and go for another Rock Slide. And I choose to switch into Torkoal. Okay, and he switches into Marowak. So I probably could have read into that and gone for a, what's that move called? Earth Power. And this could have been a really good turn for me. I don't know. It's a good play by my opponent, though. And it still does 50% to his Marowak. So Earth Power probably would have took it out. And maybe that would have gave me a chance here. Celesteela wakes up, takes out Venusaur. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if leaving in Regirock would have been smarter there or not. Honestly, it probably would have been. And gone for a Rock Slide. That would have taken out the Marowak, and it potentially could have taken out the Celesteela. So that could have been really big. And then I would also have the weather advantage because Torkoal is slower than Politoed, so Politoed would come in first. So what I'm saying here is if I had gone Rock Slide and I had my Leaf Storm and my Rock Slide took out Marowak, then Marowak would have fainted and Venusaur would have fainted. So Politoed and Torkoal would have both been coming in. Torkoal's slower, so I would have had the sun up and I would have had the weather advantage. So that would have been a big deal there. The way it is, I mean, there's not really much I can do. I can't protect my Regirock because I don't have Protect. All I can really do is, click Rock Slide and Burning Jealousy. I am going to take out Celesteela, but it just doesn't matter at this point because he's got Politoed in the back, and now Politoed comes in and he wins the game. So leaving in Regirock was the play. I still think I probably lose, but that at least gives me a chance. Well, I shouldn't say I probably lose. There's a good chance that I could have won that if I had gone for a Rock Slide instead of switching into Torkoal. But at this point, I just might as well quit because I can't win. All right, so this brings us to a deciding game three, right? So it's 1-1. We're going into game three. Whoever wins game three takes the set, right? So here we are in the team preview. So he's led Gothitelle every single time so far, which is really smart. You know, again, it traps me in there. So the Gothitelle Celesteela is really tough for me to fight against. I'm not sure what I did here. I really don't remember. Like, Zapdos makes sense, except my Zapdos' safety goggles, it's not going to take out the Celesteela. I could go for Fake Tears in Max Lightning into the Celesteela. I'm not sure if that kills it or not because I'm pretty sure his Celesteela was Assault Vest. And, you know, having safety goggles doesn't help my cause here. That is what I go with, though. And I honestly don't remember how this played out. Again, this was like a month and a half ago at this point. But yeah, he's been leading Gothitelle. Celesteela is a great lead for him. So that's why, you know, it makes sense for me to lead with the Zapdos and the Grimmsnarl. Now here's the thing, he has Fake Out on Gothitelle, right? So he can just Fake Out my Grimmsnarl and Max Steel Spike it, and then I get nothing out of the turn. So you can see what I'm hoping he does here is I'm hoping that he switches out the Celesteela and that I can just double into the Gothitelle and take it out because that thing has been a real nuisance for me. It really hurt me in the last game, putting me to sleep and not letting me switch. And so I want to get rid of that thing right away. But I'm pretty sure what he goes for is the Fake Out and the Max Steel Spike, which is a really smart move. And again, that just makes things really tough for me. Because now I can't use Fake Tears, I can't set up screens, I get nothing out of my Grimmsnarl. And I mean, there's nothing else I can do here, because again, I can't switch Grimmsnarl out because of Gothitelle. I can't protect Grimmsnarl because I don't have Protect on it. So, you know, it just really puts me in a tough spot. Like, so he does go Fake Out, he does go Steel Spike, he does kill the Grimmsnarl. And there's really nothing I can do to stop that. But I do like that this time I targeted the Gothitelle because I really want that thing off the field. Like, I need that thing out of here. So now it makes sense for me to bring in Venusaur because I can max Airstream again and then hopefully I can put the Celesteela to sleep. So I can go max Airstream into Gothitelle. Now you can see my max Airstream did right around 50%. So I'm hoping the max Airstream can pick up a knockout. Like, it would be really bad if Gothitelle was able to survive with a little sliver of hit points. So I'm hoping my max Airstream can take out the Gothitelle and that I can land a Sleep Powder. So the max Airstream is enough to take it out. So that's huge. You know, I'm getting speed boosts on both my Pokemon, which is also huge. And now I need this Sleep Powder to land, and it does. So huge turn for me there. If Sleep Powder misses, I guarantee he was going for max Airstream onto Venusaur there, and then I am in really bad shape if he takes out my Venusaur. So the Sleep Powder landing there is absolutely huge. So he goes into Marowak here. So, you know, this again makes it tough for me because Marowak's ability is Lightning Rod. So I can no longer go for Max Lightning because the Marowak will just absorb that. I also can't just leave Venusaur out there because he can go Flare Blitz and take out my Venusaur. So I really need to switch into the Torkoal here. That's going to set up the Sun for my Zapdos. And then I can go for Max Flare and get some damage onto the Celesteela. It might have been smarter to go for a Max Airstream into Marowak, but this is why I didn't, because I was thinking, okay, he's probably expecting me to switch my Venusaur out, so he's probably expecting me to go for a Max Airstream into the Marowak, and so he's probably going to protect, and that is what he did. It was a great protect by him, but smart move by me to target the Celesteela. Now that still doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's still a good play here. I get some damage on the Celesteela, and our Dynamaxes are over now. And now, this is kind of a tough next turn here, but I think going for Heat Wave and Earth Power makes a lot of sense. So I could see him switching the Celesteela out here into the Politoed, potentially. He doesn't switch out, so the Heat Wave is a really good move here. Celesteela wakes up and goes for Flamethrower. Good move by him. Get damage on Zapdos. And then the Boomerang makes sense here. I can't remember if I went for Earth Power or if I went for Burning Jealousy. Okay, I went for Earth Power. So I think that's smart. It doesn't take out the Marowak, but now both of his Pokemon are super close to being knocked out. So my Zapdos is going to go first here. A Heat Wave is very safe for me here. And then I believe, well, either I can protect my Torkoal, but I think it makes sense for me now to switch the Torkoal out. Okay, I do protect it. So, I mean, that makes sense. And basically here, as long as my Heat Wave hits both of them, they're both going to get knocked out. The reason I would potentially switch Torkoal out here is because I'm assuming he has Politoed in the back. So if I switch Torkoal out, then I can switch him back in and get the weather back in my favor. But as long as my Heat Wave connects on both of them, the game is pretty much over. Now he could switch into Politoed here, and then maybe Heat Wave doesn't take out his Marowak, but he leaves both of them in. I connect on both with my Heat Wave, and now I've pretty much won the game, right? All he has in the back is his Politoed. I have Zapdos, who has super effective damage into it. I have Venusaur, who has super effective damage into it. So yeah, there isn't anything he can do at this point. So I can just click Thunderbolt here and switch in Venusaur. So even if he targets the Torkoal slot here and goes for a Scald, it's not going to do that much damage into my Venusaur. Did I really leave Torkoal in here? That makes no sense. Like, you switch out every time here. So I switch out because then I can always bring Torkoal back in and get the weather back in my favor, and then he's really going to do no damage. So Thunderbolt does obviously a lot of damage here. He does have a berry to get some health back. And I think he targeted Zapdos. Yep. So this is why it's smart to switch out the Torkoal, because even if he had targeted Venusaur, it's not going to do that much damage. And since he targeted the Zapdos, now I can switch Torkoal back in. With the sun up, his Scald is going to do absolutely nothing. He has no way to kill Venusaur, and there's no way I can lose this game now. So, yeah, I might as well protect my Torkoal, but it really doesn't matter. I can click Earth Power and Leaf Storm. And yeah, I mean, there's no way he can win this match. He can't kill my Venusaur. Even if Leaf Storm had missed and he had killed Torkoal, like I just go for Leaf Storm again on the next turn. And eventually it's going to hit and knock him out. Alright, so again, I had won the first match. I just forgot to click start recording here. So I won the set. So I won both of my first two matches. So I'm 2-0 to start this tournament. So I'm feeling really good. But again, I need to win 7 matches. So it's still a long ways to go in the Swiss style tournament. With there being 9 rounds, like I said earlier, I have to win 7 rounds. You're mathematically eliminated once you've lost 3 matches. So yeah, great start being up to or being 2-0 to start. But yeah, I need to keep winning games. I need to keep playing well. But yeah, obviously a great start for me.